The major mission of a journalist, a young journalist, old journalist like me, same thing, is to be there. You have to be there. Personally, physically there, looking in the eyes of the people you want to know things about. You can't use the telephone. When I was a young journalist at 21, an old reporter said, don't ever go to the phone, go there. You can't talk on the phone and get a story. So now I do the same thing. The new technology, I pay no attention to. I don't interview through email, or I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a tape recorder, never did. I want to be there and ask questions or have questions asked of me in a way of mutually exchanging ideas, but doing it personally. One time in 1999, I went to talk to a woman who was a soccer player in China, and I didn't know how to reach her, but I flew to China and started looking for her. This is a woman who played for the Chinese national team, who played in the World Cup. Her Chinese team lost to the American team in the final of the World Cup in Pasadena, Florida in 1999. And I wanted to know about that one Chinese woman who missed a kick in the final stages of overtime and the penalty kick. And I wanted to write about her as a Chinese woman experiencing dissatisfaction, sadness. And it took me 5 months, but I went to China and I wrote about her, with interpreters, of course, but I saw her face to face. I always believe you have to be face to face. And I believe the satisfaction I've gotten at age 83 from 60 plus years of being published is I never felt now that I did anything I'm embarrassed about. It's not that I'm a guiltless person, I'm a very sensitive person, but I have also been very sensitive when I talk to people to be sure I'm being fair. And I am convinced that I have been, and what I can say is, by way of evidence, I've never received in all these 60 plus years a letter from a person I interviewed saying, you did me wrong, you betrayed me, you said you weren't going to use this and you used that, you violated my privacy. I didn't, but I've invaded privacy constantly, but always with the permission of the person. And when I finally wrote what I wrote, I was satisfied that I did the best I could. And more important, the person that was the subject of what I wrote did not ever say, you did me wrong. And I can go back to anybody I've ever interviewed. If they're still alive, I can do a second interview with them. That's what brings me my Nobel Prize. I never won the Nobel Prize, and I don't care if it's not an issue at all, but that is my prize to myself. Curiosity, I start with curiosity. I have a curiosity about a subject or person. Then I get to that person. I knock on the door. I have a way of getting the door open. What do I have? An approach. And what is that approach? Courtesy, a deferential manner. I present myself in a way that shows respect. I dress the way I'm dressed now for you, for everybody. I have 100 suits. Even when I was a kid, my father made my suits when I was a child. But all in my adulthood, I've always dressed for the story. I never show up with blue jeans. I'm always dressed for the story because the story is important. What I'm doing is important. I feel it's important. So I'm not there as some little factotum from some thing called journalism. I'm there as a major representative of the best in journalism, which I represent the best in journalism. Many of the people I talk to are not considered important people. They're people that have never been written about until I wrote about them. People that I write about, if they die before me, have an obituary. They would never have an obituary in a newspaper if I didn't write about them. So I'm writing about people that are not necessarily famous. Some of them are infamous, some of them are obscure, but I interview them. Then what I do is I take notes, not with a tape recorder. I use my cardboard. These are shirt boards. I cut them up like this, put them in my pocket. I sometimes will ask a question and get an answer, and then I get the answer. I'll go to the person and say, I think we can do better than this. Let's change this to this. What do you think? Let's try to answer a little better, a little more completely, a little more articulately. So I work the person over. That's why I don't use a tape recorder. I don't want to know what comes out of their mind first. I want to know what comes out of their mind 10 times after the same question is answered and asked and answered. And it might be take a half hour for one question. Then I go home, I organize my notes. What did I learn? What's worth using? What's worth not using? Then second stage after organizing is to think, how does this begin? Where am I going to go? What's the opening scene? What follows, what follows, what follows, and how does it end? And then I start writing, and I'm very careful and slow, but deliberate in what I write. I rewrite first sentence a dozen times. In the end, it seems like it's easy. It reads as if it's simple and easy, but it's very difficult and time-consuming. And then it's published. And the great sense is when you've written something 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's still published. That means that what you did had some durability, some long-lasting appeal. It wasn't topical. It wasn't just quick. It was very slow, made with care, thought about, much deliberation went into the process. And then it's like a good song, an opera, a painting, a photography, or a photograph that lives on because it was treated with great care and responsibility and effort. That's what I do.